30-06 John here. These days, we take shooting big bore cartridges for granted and handguns and rifles. But what did the mountain men, the Spanish colonists, the Indians and natives, how did they deal with bears? What guns did they use? So I put together this video, did some research on it. Hope you enjoy it. The Europeans immigrated to North America. The American natives, Eskimos, they did not have horses or firearms. They used bows, arrows, spears to kill bears. They're pretty good, adept at it. After they got horses, they're able to use longer spears, lances on bears. But I wanted to show this one picture. This picture was taken in 1924 in Alaska, northern Alaska, along the Arctic coast. Shows a Alaska native there that he killed a polar bear with a bow and arrow. Just proof that even in the age of firearms, that they still used what's considered primitive weapons to kill bears. During the Lewis and Clark expedition, they wrote in their log in 1805, quote, "The Indians give a formidable account of the strength and ferocity of this animal, which he never dare attack but in parties of 6, 8, or 10 persons, and are even then frequently defeated with the loss of one or more of their party. Continue on the bottom here. Previous to their departure to hunt the bears, they paint themselves to perform all those superstitious rites commonly observed when they are about to make war upon a neighboring nation." So basically, going after a big bear, grizzly bear, brown bear, polar bear, was like going to war. When the Spanish came to North America and started setting up missionaries, that's part of the Spanish government and communities. They were in Texas, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, I'm not sure, but that area had a lot of grizzly bears. And there's stories of the missionaries sending out groups of soldiers to go and kill California grizzly bears, because California had a lot of grizzly bears back then for meat. So they were able to handle the grizzly bears fairly well. The types of firearms that they used, it was called the escopeta. I guess I'm saying that right. The escopeta was a light, inexpensive .69 caliber musket or shotgun. So it could either shoot some type of shot, buckshot, birdshot, or a round ball. Had about a 38, 40-inch barrel, and it was used by the Spanish cavalry and most all of the soldiers on the Spanish frontier. It was pretty popular for a long time. It was simple to repair. The Spanish cowboys, vaqueros, also had they would rope grizzly bears, probably to protect their herds of cattle. Maybe they did it for sport. An outcome of this was that they also got grizzly bears and would put them in a ring and have them fight a bull. And they would see who would win, the grizzly bear or the bull. It was pretty popular. It was finally outlawed in California. I think it was like 1866 or 1870. The French, then later the British, traded with the Indians for furs. One of the main things they traded with them was firearms. The Hudson Bay Company, they established various outposts all through Canada. And they would trade firearms. The main firearm they used was called the trade fusil or trade fizzy. They were called by a couple different names. Fuzils, fizzies, or fuzzies. Lewis and Clark encountered Indians armed with these trade firearms. These were smoothbore muskets. They were various calibers, but they ended up being about .60 caliber, 24 gauge. They were smoothbore, so they could be used as a shotgun, shooting shot, or they could shoot a big round ball. They were pretty popular all through Canada and wherever the Indians traded with the French or the British. With the Louisiana Purchase, there was an expedition, the Lewis and Clark expedition, organized to explore that area and also find a western route to the Pacific Ocean overland. The trip, the Lewis and Clark expedition left on May of 1804, was gone for over 2 years, didn't return until September 1806. St. Louis. They took a variety of rifles. They took some of the 1792, 1794 contract rifles. These are rifles, 49 or 54 caliber rifled barrels. They also took some of the muskets from the soldiers that went with them. And these were model 1795 muskets. They had a 69 caliber. They were big guns, overall length of 59 inches, a weight of about 9.5 pounds. They could hunt big game with it with a 69 caliber round ball. And because it was a smoothbore, they could also shoot birdshot out of it. Here's a chart comparing the various ball sizes compared to a quarter and a 30 caliber bullet. They also took some horse pistols. These would usually be in the same caliber as their rifles, so they could use the same round balls in them. Here's a container that they carried their gunpowder in. It was made of pure lead, so as they used their gunpowder, they could melt down the container into make it into round balls. Pretty smart. They had a lot of great adventures on with grizzly bears. They kept calling them white bears because they kept appearing white. One entry in the Lewis and Clark log says here, Captain Clark and Drewer killed the largest brown bear this evening, which we have yet seen. It was most tremendous looking animal and extremely hard to kill, notwithstanding he had 5 balls through his lungs and 5 others in various parts. He swam more than half the distance across the river to a sandbar, and it was at least 20 minutes before he died. That's just one entry in their log. They have a lot more grizzly bear entries. John Coulter is considered the first mountain man. He was actually part of the Lewis and Clark expedition. He never made it back to St. Louis. He was given permission to leave the expedition in North Dakota. He went back upriver to trap. So I assume he used the same rifle on the expedition, probably something like this 1792 contract rifle. Jim Bridger is considered the king of the mountain men. He started when he was pretty young. I think his first fur expedition was when he was 18 or 20. He used a Hawken rifle later on, but when he started out, he probably used something like this Kentucky rifle or Lancaster style rifle. So let's talk about Hugh Glass. Hugh Glass was the mountain man that was mauled by a grizzly bear, and he crawled 700 miles, several hundred miles, back to civilization to a fort. In the movie, he was trying to get revenge for his son's death. In real life, he just wanted his rifle back. A lot of people might have said he had a Hawken rifle. Hawken rifles weren't really start being produced until after 1820. Hugh Glass got mauled 1823. I mean, he might have had a Hawken rifle. He just as likely could have had a sort of a bigger bore Tennessee type rifle or a Kentucky rifle. Don't really know. The Hawken brothers, Jacob and Samuel Hawken, they opened up a gun shop in St. Louis, which was the jumping off point for all the fur traders going on the Missouri River. It looks like they started selling guns maybe in the 1820s, but they really didn't get popular until 1830. And then their classic, what's considered a Hawken design, which is a half stock, a thicker stock, and bigger bore barrel. That's when that became popular. All of their guns were well made. They're very accurate. And that's when everyone, all the mountain men, Jim Bridger, Kit Carson, they're all carrying Hawken rifles from what I've read. These were effective guns. They were bigger bore, more accurate. They could shoot game at further ranges, more knockdown power for bears. When they first started out doing flintlocks, there's reports of them doing a few flintlocks, but all Hawken rifles are percussion caps. Kit Carson was a celebrity mountain man in his own time. He basically, with John C. Fremont, mapped the Oregon Trail. He explored California, was involved in getting that from the Spanish. There are two Hawken rifles that are verified that he owned them. One is a 54 caliber Hawken rifle with an 31-inch octagon barrel. Another one is a 56 caliber with a 36-inch barrel. So in his early years trapping, he probably didn't use a Hawken, but later on in the 1840s and 50s, it looks like he did.